Hi everyone, my name is Aniston Casey and I am a second year occupational therapy student at the University of Tennessee Health Science Center here in Memphis, Tennessee. And today I will be presenting an in-service presentation titled Avoiding Burnout as an Occupational Therapy Practitioner. I hope that this information will be useful to you as you transition into level 2 field work and into your first year of practice as an occupational therapist. For this in-service presentation, I have defined 3 learning objectives for the learner to complete by the end of the presentation. They are as follows. Number 1, the learner will define the meaning of burnout. Number 2, the learner will identify contributions of burnout as an occupational therapy practitioner. Number 3, the learner will identify strategies to overcome burnout as an occupational therapy practitioner. Okay, I'm sure that burnout is most likely a term that many of you have heard and maybe even had feelings of at some point. But today I would really like that you be sure that you truly understand the meaning of burnout, as it can be easily confused with terms such as anxiety. After reviewing an article from the American Journal of Occupational Therapy, I have included a definition of burnout that I personally think fits the mold of what burnout might look like as an occupational therapist. So, from this journal article, I included burnout is a job-related condition involving feelings of emotional exhaustion, depersonalization, and reduced personal accomplishment. Now, if you guys would take out a sheet of paper, we're going to do some retrieval practice. I would like for you to write your own definition of burnout to test your understanding of the concept while also pulling things out of your knowledge that you might know about the concept as well. Okay, so we are going to take about 30 seconds for you guys to include this definition of burnout, and then we will come back together, okay? All right, guys, thank you for doing that. I hope that you were able to use your retrieval practice skills and come back with your own definition of burnout. Now we're going to talk about the contributors to burnout that are often seen in the field of occupational therapy. So during level 2 fieldwork, there may be times when you're unsure if burnout is evident in your life. Some days we may experience just plain exhaustion from constant learning and feeling pressed to just be okay and make it through our day. It's important that we realize that this could happen on fieldwork, and today I would like to share with you some reasons that contribute to burnout early and can allow students the opportunity to cope with feelings if you identify these instead of waiting until your breaking point when those feelings of burnout might be evident in your career. So, here are some common contributions to burnout that an OT who's experienced feelings of burnout personally shared on My OT Spot, a blog that many of us have probably been exposed to at this point. So, number 1, a high workload. Depending on the setting, high physical demands can be taxing to a new graduate or a fieldwork student. Altering their routine to wake up early and work long hours can be overly exhausting, especially when their day might not end at the clinic or school setting or wherever they may be, as being a well-rounded practitioner involves planning ahead to research diagnosis and upcoming interventions that might be appropriate for our clients. Productivity demands of the day tied with all the emotional and mental distress can just lead to feelings of total exhaustion and detachment. Number 2, thinking the grass is greener. Sometimes you just might feel that you're not in the right setting. Maybe it's not the fieldwork site that you wanted, or it's not the perfect first job that you had envisioned. It could be because it just isn't everything that you had ever imagined. Social media may lead you to compare your experience with others, other peers, or practitioners who have been in the field for way longer than you. Although you may feel that yours is less fulfilling or rewarding, it's still leading to those feelings of just being burnt out. Number 3, feeling bored with interventions. Maybe you don't feel like you have enough time to contribute to your OT toolbox. You don't have that time to be creative. It could sometimes feel that you aren't performing best with client-centered interventions that are tailored to your clients. Failing to serve your clients in the ultimate capacity of creating perfect interventions can drive a new therapist to detachment and feeling emotional demands of not being good enough or lack of confidence in their skills. Number 4, lacking proper mentorship. In fieldwork experiences and in the first year as a practitioner, there could be times where we may feel as if we're thrown to the wolves. This may especially be true if there is conflict with your clinical educator or if there's not an occupational therapist on site, which is possible. And for me personally, I will not have an occupational therapist with me full time during fieldwork, so that is something that I'm actually a little nervous about. Sometimes it may feel like we can only teach ourselves so much while pouring into our clients without the proper mentorship and support of someone who has been there and done that. All right, and number 5, the final contribution to burnout as an occupational therapist is being unhappy with your setting. Jumping into the first setting you can get your hands on can sometimes contribute to burnout. Accepting the first job or fieldwork opportunity can teach you loads about your interests and passions, but it can also lead to feelings of disinterest and discontent if that's not the one. If your heart just isn't into the setting, then it can drive you to depersonalization and feelings that you haven't fulfilled your full potential of being in the setting that you desire, helping the people that you're passionate about. Okay. So after we've met our second learning objective in this presentation, we're going to take a quiz. Okay, so if you haven't already, I would like for you guys to follow this link or the link on Blackboard to mindtools.com to complete a quiz on burnout. This quiz is intended for passionate and driven individuals to recognize risk of burnout in the workplace. After taking this quiz, my score interpretation warned me to be careful, as I was at risk of burnout myself. I hope that this quiz can enlighten you and allow you to be self-aware. I believe we are at a place in our education where burnout can easily be prevalent in our careers, which is why it's so important that we identify strategies to overcome that risk of burnout before we begin our level 2 fieldwork rotations. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to go ahead and take this quiz if you haven't, and then hopefully interpret your results and get a good idea of where you're at among this scale and interpret your risk of burnout. Okay. As I mentioned, I would like to share several strategies with you to help you overcome any feelings of burnout that you might have. Number 1, seek community and collaboration. Isolation and loneliness have a direct association with burnout, so it is important to be connected throughout your experiences. Finding relationships both inside and outside of your practice setting are important to create a new perspective. Simply calling a friend from your hometown or having an outlet to chat with can decrease overwhelming threats to burnout. Number 2, introspection. Practice self-awareness and really understand what your strengths and weaknesses are. Make time to journal and reflect about things that are contributing to your own burnout. This can include finding new and interesting topics, leisure activities, and ways to relieve stress. As you make time for others, remember to make time for yourself and your own needs, because you being happy will reflect in your therapy practice. Number 3, expand skill sets. In many situations, burnout can stem from a lack of confidence or lack of information. Entering the field as a generalist therapist can sometimes have a new grad feeling as we know a little about a lot. Taking time to gain an additional certification about something that you really enjoy can spin that dilemma. Another way to expand your skill set is by taking a burnout related course. For example, there is a course titled Bash the Burnout for Health Professionals. Remember, those soft skills, including active listening, can help fight against feelings of detachment from your clients in situations of burnout as well. Number 4, improve efficiency. This involves streamlining efforts in general. For the most part, this skill will come with time, but research ways to become more efficient will be useful to us as well. For example, using a weekly or daily planner to control the tasks which can be planned for. As we know, not everything is going to be cut and dry. We're not going to know exactly what we can do, but it will help a lot to just be able to plan for the moments that we can. Learn how to do work in available time, whether it's documenting or reviewing chart history on your lunch break. As a new grad, that lunch break might be the place where we can have the perfect opportunity to grow our skills as a therapist. Learning how to make the best use of our time can help in combating burnout, as we would be addressing the personal accomplishment aspects of burnout. Number 5, change your setting. Your setting simply might not be for you. If you are at a location which is holding you down in terms of burnout, then there could be potentially other opportunities for you. Choose a setting that allows you to be flexible and less emotionally exhausted. Be willing to diversify your interests and find an ethical environment that allows you to thrive in your work. Number 6, let's be honest, student loans can sometimes decrease the joy that we might find in this profession. This is one of those areas that cause occupational therapists to have feelings of reduced personal accomplishment. One might be feeling that their professional life is hectic, productive, or overwhelming, while their personal life may feel like a whirlwind that isn't catching a break. Tackling this area of your career can reduce the pressure that you feel to succeed. Number 7, catch the burnout early. Knowing your symptoms early is one of the most efficient strategies to reducing burnout. Being constantly distant and detached from the things that you enjoy is not healthy as we know. But being aware of the contributions to burnout and stress can allow you to get a grip on these feelings before an outburst or major conflict with a coworker or supervisor. It is important to communicate with those supervisors and your clinical team to see if any adaptations or suggestions can be implemented to help you serve your facility well. Number 8, probably my favorite, escape. While this could seem like the most enjoyable option, it probably isn't the most feasible for the majority of us either. Of course, a 2-month hiatus sounds like heaven, but unfortunately the cards are not always stacked on our side. But a weekend getaway can sometimes be the perfect opportunity for occupational therapy students, both new and old, to get away, unplug, and unwind. Remember to recharge your batteries from time to time to avoid that emotional exhaustion and detachment from others. This is a good way to combine strategies like catching it early and seeking community and collaboration. I encourage you all to complete the Google form, which serves as a knowledge check for this material. Thank you for listening to this presentation, and I truly hope that you can take this information with you in future endeavors. Thanks for listening, guys. Hope you have a good one. Bye.